Welcome to an attempted playthrough of Pavlov's House, the Battle of Stalingrad, which is a solitaire game that recently came out from Dan Versen Games. The game looks at the months-long siege of a fortified apartment complex in the city of Stalingrad during World War II. The Soviets control this fortified apartment building. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. It is shown here. This is the tactical map, and actually the map board is made up of three distinct sections. On the right is the operational level of the map. This looks at the Volga River and the Soviets' attempt to get men and material across the river to then get to the defenders in the city and in Pavlov's house. I'm not going to go into the rules of it. We'll talk about it as we go through. The middle portion of the map is what I would call the so the first part was the operational level. This is more the strategic level where you have these assault lanes numbered 1 through 6. You'll notice there are different colors. What's going to happen is German Wehrmacht counters are going to be pulled from this deck, and you're going to roll a die to determine where they go. They're going to be placed in these positions, and then as other units are placed on the same track, it's going to push the units towards Pavlov's house. If there are units lined up on all these spaces and they end up getting pushed into Pavlov's house, the game is over. It ends in a German victory, and the Soviets will lose. So over here on the left, as I showed you earlier, is Pavlov's house. Here, the player is going to deal with Soviet counters. These have different abilities. We'll talk about them as we go along. They are going to move around to these combat positions from which they're going to defend against the Wehrmacht that are assaulting them. They can do suppression of units as they come onto the board. They can repair the defenses of the building itself. They have to worry about getting food in the form of this token across the Volga River into there. They need ammo. They need medical supplies. They also need sapper tokens to either improve these defenses or put out here as a last line of defense on the strategic level. And they can be killed and wounded, and they're going to have to storm different fortified positions as they become available. And then at the end of the game, there's going to be a scoring phase where you will determine whether you won or not. The game can be challenging. I've played it now, 12 to 15 times. I really enjoy it. Takes about an hour to about an hour and a half. Because I'm going to explain the game, it's going to take a lot longer than that, but I'm going to try to do a 2-part playthrough video just to give you a feel for how it goes. So I hope you can see the map. I've tried to set the camera up such that you can see things. We also are using the operational support variant. That is a way for us to simply get additional victory points. We can end up sacrificing these resource tokens on the side. Doesn't require an action or anything, and we just put that to the side if we have that, if we meet the conditions, and then we're going to score those victory points. This is the deck that we're going to draw from for the operational level. This is the Wehrmacht deck that we're going to draw, and it's going to tell us what the Wehrmacht is doing in assaulting. And then the tactical side is where we're going to make more choices about how we move our counters around and defend. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step is to draw 4 of these operational cards. So we're going to get to draw 4 of those, and they are dual use cards. You'll notice that they have 2 parts to each one of them. We're going to get to do 3 actions out of these 4 cards. You can only do 1 action on 1 card. For example, 8th Guard Sapper Battalion. If I take that action and I have a sapper token in the supply area of the tactical board, I can move that out onto these areas to act as a last line of defense, or I can repair damage done to the various building sections. The 32nd Guards Artillery Regiment, we can put a resource token in these spaces, and then they can be used to call in with a forward observer strikes on Wehrmacht counters attacking. The 267th Separate Anti-Aircraft Battalion is up here. We can put an anti-aircraft token. We can then discard those tokens to try to shoot down Stukas as they are attacking and dive bombing. 13th Guards, we can recruit different points worth of counters into the tactical side. The Volga River Flotilla, we can move supplies from the staging area into this area, or from the flotilla area onto the tactical map. 139th Signal Battalion, we're going to build a series of communication lines. If we ever get these 4 built, we will then get to take 4 actions on these 4 cards. Very difficult to do, but I've done it a couple of times, and it is very, very rewarding. So we're going to look at this and try to decide what we've got. Definitely, we're going to choose as one of our actions to go ahead and put an anti-aircraft token there. So that's one. I'm then going to use the 13th Guards Rifle Division to recruit different points worth of 6 points worth of Soviet counters. So I'm going to come over here. I'll do this off camera and I'll show you what I'm going to recruit. We need to start recruiting things that can stop and suppress counters coming in. But we also need to start figuring out how to get better of everything, because we need more defenders. So I'm going to spend 6 points to recruit these 4 counters. I'm going to get the mortar, which costs 2 points. You can see the dots there. I'm going to get 2 mortar operators, which cost 1 point apiece. And I'm going to get Mashi Jashvili, which costs 2 points. That's 6 points. I can then put them into my reserve area, and I can then mobilize them to move them into the tactical area in order to take actions, defend, shoot Wehrmacht counters, etc. With this last action, I'm going to go ahead and put a communications token out because I don't have any other great options. I wish I'd have drawn something that I could recruit or move in supplies. I also wish I had that, just because I need to start building those up. So that's the discard pile. I'm going to go ahead and put those there, and we are done with our first operational level turn. We will then move to the Wehrmacht counter or Wehrmacht card phase. We're going to draw individually 3 cards. I like to play them right here so I know exactly what I've played and what I haven't. So the first card I draw is a Stuka dive bomber. So it's going to bomb Stalingrad. There are 3 of them, and their defense value is a 4. Now remember, I bought this anti-aircraft token over here. If I discard this, I will get to roll 2 dice to try and shoot down these Stuka dive bombers as they come in, and I need to roll 4s or higher. I will roll off camera here. So I rolled 2 5s. Boom. Great roll. So I shot down 2 of the 3 Stuka dive bombers, so 1 is going to get through. Stuka dive bombers roll 3 dice. You total up the sum of those 3 dice. So I rolled an 11, and you go over to the operational level map, and you find the 11 space. There, you're going to put a disruption token in that space, and that is unusable until you clear that disruption token off the board. This becomes very important as the game wears on. The more disruption tokens you get out here, the less things that you can do. The less things that you can do, the harder it is for your defenders in the tactical map, and eventually you're going to die. You can lose the game automatically if this command post for the 62nd Division is hit twice. The game will be over. So if you ever roll 3 6s, or if there are disruption tokens in all of these, and you roll, say, a 15, it's going to move to the next open space. If it's disrupted, it'll move to the next open space. If it's disrupted, it will then move to the next open space, and you'll put a disruption token there. So those Stuka bombers can really snowball on you, and you've got to make sure you have anti-aircraft to take care of them. All right, so I survived the first Stuka. Our next card that we pull is an artillery attack against the building. So this is a 2-phase card. Let's go ahead and show you. First, I'm going to roll 1d6, and I'm going to I'm going to figure out which side of the building is going to be hit. I rolled a 4, so the red side of the building is going to be hit. So if we go over to the tactical map, the red side of the building is here. Here's its defensive value. Then, on the card, it tells you how many dice you're going to roll. Well, I can't pick the stupid card up. So you'll notice it tells you to roll 5 dice. So I'm now going to roll 5 dice. I'm looking to roll 6s, because that's what the defensive value is. I rolled no 6s, so the attack does nothing. Very fortunate. Let's go ahead and put that back. That's our second card, done and over with. If I had actually rolled a 6, and it only requires 1 6, you're then going to move down on this track, this shield token. So the next time that side of the building is attacked, it's only going to require 5s or higher. So you need to repair that, because what's going to happen is when it finally gets down to the 3s, you only need to roll 3 or higher, and then all of these defenders in the red section are going to start to take hits. When they take 2 hits, they're dead. So you're going to lose all those defenders, not a good thing. Let's go ahead and draw the third card. It's another attack building card. I'm going to roll a d6. I rolled a 4. We're going to hit the red again. This card says 4, so I'm going to roll 4 dice. And I did roll a 6. So I rolled 1 6. So the defense value is going to drop to a 5. That's okay. Not bad. We actually survived that pretty well. So I'm going to put those cards off there, and now we're going to move to the tactical phase. During the tactical phase, we can move our available counters around. In fact, you get 3 free movements from the reserves box into an open space. You can move 1 unit of a team along with its weapon for 1. So if I decide to move this mortar team in, which I'm going to do, it's only going to cost me 2 of my 3 movements to get them onto the board. So I am going to go ahead and move them onto the board because I want to be able to do some disruptions so that I can, some suppressions so that I can stop Wehrmacht counters from coming onto the board. So what I did is I moved my 2 mortar team members to this box, which is a red and a purple, and I moved my mortar. That cost me 2 movements. I can still move 1 guy onto the board, and I'm going to go ahead and move my commander, Pavlov, into the 1 space, because I want to be able to use him to restore or refresh used tokens. So that's my free movement. Now I get 3 actions. You'll notice I have a 4th. If I ever get all of the commanders, deployed into the house at the same time, I will get to take 4 actions. And for some reason, I'm feeling like I've misplaced a leader. Maybe I haven't. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and take my 3 actions. So I'm going to go ahead and do a suppression with these 3 guys. It's going to take 2 actions to fire both of them, which is kind of not cool. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust them. And that's going to allow me to put their suppression value, which is a 6, worth of suppress markers into the red and the purple. So I'm going to put 4 into red and 2 into purple. I can use those when units come up in those colors in order to try and stop them. So there you go. I still have one action, but I just use them. I'm not going to do anything, so I will just waste it. The first turn is like that. It's kind of hard. So that's our first turn completed. Let's go back to the operational level side. We will draw our 4 cards. All right. So here's what I drew. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this 60-second Army Command Post action, which allows me to put a certain number worth of supplies, 5 tokens of supplies, into the staging area box. That way I can get them in there and try to get moving. So I'm going to put 1 food. I'm going to put 2 first aid. I'm going to put 1 bullet. I'm going to go ahead and put a sapper. All right, and we'll talk about this as the game goes on, but you have to keep your guys alive with food. The medicine symbol, the first aid, will allow you to, rather than eliminate a guy, to save them. Sappers repair and act as these last lines of defense. And then the bullets you can get, I think it's 3 more suppression tokens. So I'm then going to go ahead and do another 139th Signal Corps, just because that's what I've got to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a 1083rd anti-aircraft token down here. So that's my turn. I did my 3 actions. We will discard those cards. And I should probably, let me look at this. So let me show you what these operational support. This one's worth 4 victory points. I'm probably going to go ahead and do it. All right, so first you have to make sure that none of these are disrupted. So the 60-second command post, we do have artillery disrupted, so I should have done that last time, but we'll get to that eventually. I'll eventually get there. Let's go back to the Wehrmacht phase. And we're going to draw 1 at a time, the next 3 cards. All right, Stuka Dive Bomber. There are 2 dive bombers. I'm not going to shoot them at this point. So I'm going to roll 3 dice twice. I rolled an 8. And wouldn't you know it, I lost. An 8 is exactly where I put that anti-aircraft token. So I end up losing that. That's just sometimes the way it goes. And then I rolled a 7, which is not good because I have to put a disruption marker on the flotilla. Sometimes that's the way it happens. Okay, so we have our first unit that's coming out. It's a scout. So with the scout unit, we are going to roll a 1. A 1. We're going to roll a die. I rolled a 1. We're going to take a scout counter and put it on the 1 track. I do not have any suppression tokens in the green, so I cannot stop him from coming on. If he was going in the red, I could choose a couple of tokens, roll some 6-siders, hoping to roll a 5 or higher, and I would then stop him from being placed. But he's going to be placed. And then our 3rd card is an attack the building card. So we're going to roll a 6-sider. I roll a 3, so the red is going to get pummeled again. 5 dice, needing 5s. I rolled a 6, so it gets hit. So it's down to a value of 4, which isn't good. So that's our 3 Wehrmacht cards. We'll now move over to the the tactical side of the board. So we're going to remove these. We get those 3 back. At the beginning of the turn, we can move 3 guys in. So I'm going to move a guy into this radio spot because he can recruit 2 points worth of guys. I'm going to move this guy here. And I'm going to move this guy here. The reason I'm moving him there is I want to protect Pavlov as much as possible. And I'll talk to you about that later when we finally get into that. So I've got 3 actions to use. First off, I'm going to recruit 2 points worth of guys with the radio. And I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in an artillery piece. This one costs 2, so I'm going to put it right there. It'll sit until I get guys that can use artillery. With Mashija Shivli, I'm going to go ahead and do suppression as well. So he has a suppress value of 1. I'm going to put 1 suppression token into green. And then I'm going to go ahead and, I'm not worried about that guy. I'm going to do another suppress token in for purple. So those are my 3 actions. And when you take actions with, you're supposed to put these counters on them because then you know you can't refresh them with a leader's ability. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in a moment. All right, so we're going to go back to the operational level map. We're going to draw 4 cards. Probably going to get a Fog of War card coming up soon, but we didn't. All right. Dang it. Well, I definitely want to put a couple anti-aircraft tokens out because I know they're going to start coming pretty hot and heavy. And then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and repair the Volga military flotilla. And that may seem like it's expensive, but I feel like I got to do that now so I can start moving supplies maybe next turn or the turn after. So there's my 3 cards. We'll go back to the Wehrmacht deck. First card's a rifleman. We're going to roll a die to see where he goes. He's going to go on the green. I'm going to discard a suppression token to go ahead and attempt to roll 1 die and overcome his defensive value of a 4. If I do roll a 4, 5, or a 6, he will not come on the board. And I rolled a 1, he's going to come on the board. And you know, that's just the way it sometimes happens. So there's 1 card, so I'm literally 2 away from losing. So we've got some Stukas. I'm going to go ahead and discard an artillery token or an anti-aircraft token. Rolling my 2 dice, hoping for 4s or higher. I rolled 2 5s, so I shoot all those Stukas down. And then we get another one. I'm going to throw away. See, I told you they were coming. Throw away that last artillery. I'll roll 2 dice, hoping to roll 4s. I roll 1, so only 2 of those Stukas will come through. Let's see what they do. I rolled a 12. So we put a disruption marker on number 12, which is one of the anti-artillery or anti-aircraft spaces. And then I rolled a 13, which is my next anti-aircraft space. So that's not great, but it is what it is. You'll also notice on the top of the Wehrmacht deck, we have what's called a resupply card. So next turn, I have to have 1 food token per 5 defenders in the house in order for no one to die. Right now I have 2, 6, 7, 8. I have 9. So I have 2 food tokens so I can survive without getting supplies. So that's something I don't necessarily have to worry about, but in the future I do need to worry about it. You got to stay up on top of it. It's just, you can't let yourself get behind on it. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the actions taken markers. I can move 3 guys. So I'm going to move him there. And now, I don't want to move anybody else. I can take actions. So I'm going to go ahead right now and use Pavlov to unexhaust 3 guys. And I got to put these markers on them because when they're unexhausted, that turn they can't act. Then I'm going to do Alexandrov. And I'm going to take a shot at this rifleman. So he has an attack value of 1, which means he rolls 1 die. And I'm going to try to roll 4 or higher. And I rolled a 4, thank heavens. So I will remove this rifleman counter from that green. And that helps me because now I'm one step further away from them getting into Pavlov's house. I now have a third action. I'm going to go ahead and just unexhaust that guy. So there's my turns. Until you get a lot of commanders on there, this becomes very difficult. It's just not as efficient as it should be, but it'll get there. All right, so back to the operational level. We're going to draw 4 cards, 2, 3, and 4. Still haven't drawn those Fog of War cards, which is crazy. All right, so I'm going to use this Volga military flotilla to move these 3 supplies onto the track. I need some anti-aircraft, or do I want to... I'm going to put 130... I'm almost... Look at that. One step away from being able to get those. And then I am going to do a 1083 anti-aircraft. So those are my 3 actions for those cards. I still can't do this one, so we'll talk about that here in a moment. All right, back to the Wehrmacht deck. So the first card is that resupply card. So it has a blue side. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 defenders. It's going to cost me 2 food tokens, which I have. I have to discard those back to the supply, and I've stayed alive. Now what's going to happen is you're going to flip this Storm Group card over, and you have the option if, notice it's purple, I have purple there, I have the option of storming that group, but right now I don't have many guys. I'm going to hold off on that because I can also storm it when I use a 60-second command token. So let's see. So we put this up in the Storm Group box. But this isn't that bad of a one. It only has a defense of 10. So I have to score 10 or higher on dice. So I would pick 2 or 3 guys that are unexhausted and undisrupted, put them up there. They would storm. I'd roll 1d6 for each one of the guys, needing to roll 10 or higher. If I do, I defeat it and get 5 victory points. I feel like I'm going to be able to do some things this next turn and then do that possibly here in a moment. So that's the first card. Then we go to the next 2 cards in the Wehrmacht deck. We have a scout. We're going to roll a 6-sider. I rolled another 1. That's unreal. So I have no suppression tokens, so we're going to get another scout there. This is not great. Then we pull the next card. We have a Stuka. I'm going to go ahead and pop this artillery token that I just put out last time. Roll 2d6. I roll 1, 4, so I shoot 1 down. So I have to survive 2 Stukas. So I rolled a 10. Oh, got it. I'm going to put a disruption token there. 5, 6, 7, 8. And I put a disruption token here. So I have disruption tokens now in several of the boxes. I had to put one here in this anti-artillery or anti-aircraft. Had to put one here in this 32nd Artillery Division. So you can see I have quite a few disruptions here that I need to get taken care of. Oh, that's gonna be rough. But I survived that German Wehrmacht phase. And I'm really in pretty decent shape. So let's go back here. Let's remove all the markers. And I may stop putting those action markers out just because that's something you do when you're newer and you can remember, but I have the ability, I think, to remember. Free movement, I don't necessarily want to move anybody. I am going to go ahead, though, and unexhaust Pavlov. Then I have 2 actions. I'm going to go ahead and recruit 2 points. I'm going to buy an artillery gunner for those tanks. And then I'll exhaust him to get a suppression. See, and I'm running out of suppression markers. So that's what I'll do there. I put a suppression marker in green. So into that round. All right, now we are going to draw eventually. Crap. And this was on the top, and this was on the bottom. Sorry about that. I don't know why I picked the cards up. I could probably just draw off the top of the deck and it'd just be fine, but I don't. All right, didn't draw it again. All right, so let's see what I didn't draw any river flotillas. Man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a 1083rd anti-artillery or anti-aircraft. I don't know why I can't get that right. I'm going to put up my last 139th token. So now next turn, I will be able to use 4 actions. Very rare for that to happen this early in the game, but that's great. And I will go ahead and remove one of these disruption markers there for my 3 actions. So now, because I have these all in place at the start of the next turn, I will get to take 4 actions from the 4 cards that I draw. Unfortunately, I'm going to draw most likely a Fog of War card, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. All right, German Wehrmacht phase. Let's go ahead and draw these cards. A sniper. All right. So snipers are one of these direct attack cards on the building. So we're going to roll a 6-sider to determine which area he attacks. I rolled a 3. He's going for red. Not good. Red is my weakest area now at a 4. He's then going to roll 4 dice. Actually, you pick which area you're going to attack, so you roll another 6-sider. I rolled a 6. So the mortar team is going to be targeted. If I lose a mortar team, that mortar then becomes useless to me. I hope I don't, and I don't have any first aid to stop that. So I need to hopefully not roll 4s or higher. And I do roll 4s. So I'm going to pick this guy to be dead. So he is removed from the game as a casualty. So that's sniper. Not good. Stuka, I'm going to go ahead and discard our anti-aircraft. Roll 2 4-siders. I roll a 4 and a 3, so I have to withstand 1. I rolled an 11. And of course, let me show you. This is so funny because this is just the way it always works. So I rolled an 11. Disrupted, we move to the next one. Disrupted, we move to the next. Disrupted, we move to the next. I have to remove this token. So that's going to stop me from being able to use the 4 actions next turn. If I rolled a 10, I would have been able to do it, but that, I'm telling you, it just never happens. It never works out. Rifleman, let's roll a 6-sider. I roll a 6. Purple. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 suppression token, hoping to roll a 4 or higher, and I do. So I stop that rifleman from coming on the board. I suppress him. So I survived that round. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'm trying to move a little quicker to get through the game. So now we go back to the house. I'm going to remove my markers. I have 3 actions I can take. Doggone it. I need to recruit some guys. All right, so I'm going to use Pavlov to unexhaust 3 guys. So 1, 2, and 3. All right, before I meant to move a guy, I'm going to move this guy over to green. So then I would unexhaust, and I still have. So I'm going to use this on Cherniglov. He is going to attack one of these scouts. So I have to roll a 5 or a 6, and I rolled a 5. Awesome. So I get to remove that scout counter from the board. And now I have 1 extra token, but I just unexhaust. I got to get another leader out. I got to get some more tokens out, but we'll get there. All right, into that tactical phase. So now we draw 4 of these cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can only take 3 actions. Okay, so this is a Fog of War card. It simply gums up your hand, so rather than being able to choose from 4 cards, I only get to choose from 3. So I get to throw that in the discard pile. And I'm going to go ahead and let me show you another very funny part about this game. So here's one card that I drew that I can either do the Signal Corps or move my military flotilla supplies across the river. I would really like to be able to do those 4 actions. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Volga military flotilla and move these resources to my supplies. Now, you may be screaming at me, what are you doing? I feel like that's important at this point. I'm then going to do a 60-second Army Command Post action. What that's going to allow me to do is in this phase, go ahead and do a storm group attempt. So once again, there's nobody in purple. You can see there's nobody lined up in the purple assault lane. I have to roll 10 or higher to defeat this, and I'm going to get 5 victory points. So I have to look. Let's go back to the tactical side. I have to look at all my counters and decide who's unexhausted or undisrupted, put them into the battle so that they can roll dice. So I'm definitely going to take this mortar crew. I'm going to take him, and I'm going to take him. That's 3 dice. And I think that's enough, hopefully, for me to succeed. So once again, have to roll 10 or higher. All right, I rolled 11. So I defeated it. So this is going to go into my victory display up here, and I just gained 5 victory points. Yay! Now what happens is we are going to go down and do a survival or what's called a casualty check for each of the guys that participated. Casualty checks happen on a roll of 3 or higher. Let me just double check that. 3 or higher. Yeah, on a roll of 1 to 4, the counter is a casualty and is removed from the game. On a result of 5 to 6, the counter is saved. Now, I do have 2 first aids that I can eliminate a guy or save a guy from being eliminated. So let's go ahead and just roll down. So my mortar crew, hoping to roll. I rolled a 1. He dies. I don't care if he dies. I can no longer use the mortar anyway. So that's eliminated. My Sijaglov, I'm hoping to save. I rolled a 2. I'm going to stop him from being eliminated with a first aid marker. And I'm going to also stop him from being eliminated with a first aid marker. I rolled terribly. I rolled a 1 and a 2. So they then go back into the reserves box, but they're alive. And they successfully helped me to defeat school number 38 as part of my 60-second guard action. All right, so I got those across. I'm going to go ahead and with my 13th Guards Rifle Division, recruit six tokens. All right, so I need a guy with artillery. There's 3. I need a couple gunners. 4, 5, and 6. All right, I'll talk about those later, why I chose those guys, but that phase is over. Let's move to the next German Wehrmacht card phase and draw our 3 cards. All right, our first Panzer. You cannot suppress tanks. So I cannot stop this from coming onto the board. I can only try to defeat it once it's on the board. So I rolled a 2, so we're going to get a Panzer III on the 2-track. We pulled a Panzer II. Please don't go on. All right, I rolled a 6. So we're going to put a Panzer II there. And the third card is a Panzer III. And I rolled a 3, and I'm okay with that. Red is a little easier. There's just more spaces. So we had 3 tanks show up on the Wehrmacht card phase. We're starting to get a little overwhelmed. I need to get this artillery out so that they can start shooting those guys and getting rid of them. So let's go to the tactical phase. Let's get my actions. All right, movement, free movement. All right, so I'm going to move. Remember, this is 2 movements. And then I'm going to move him there to protect. All right. So now I get 3 actions. So 2 of my actions, I'm going to go ahead and try to shoot this Panzer III in the green. Now he's in green and red. So he's going to get to roll 3 dice. I also have an Inspire ability, which gives me 1 more dice. So I get to roll 4 die, and I need to roll a 5 or higher. I rolled a 1-5. That's bad. But I destroyed this Panzer III. So I get to throw that away. And now these guys are both exhausted. And that can start to become very hard to get them unexhausted because you just don't have as many actions as you would like. So I'm also going to go ahead and unexhaust Pavlov for my 3 actions. So now we're going to go back to the operational side. We're going to draw 4 cards. Okay, I drew 1 Fog of War card, which I will throw there. And then, All right, so I'm going to do a 60-second guard post to put some supplies in there. I'm going to put 3 waters and 2 first aid. Then I'm going to play a Volga military flotilla to move 3 of those supplies out. I'm actually going to put all food and water. And then I'm going to place the 139 Signal Corps back. So if I can get through this round without losing it, I'm going to be able to take 4 actions next time. That would be awesome. All right, let's go to the next Wehrmacht card phase. And I'm going to wrap it up for this part of the video at the next resupply, which will be in a couple of rounds. All right, a mortar. Mortar's a little bit different. Mortars are going to not kill your guys, but suppress them. So you're going to roll a die to consult which area of the... And I rolled a 2, which is green. So the green is still at 5. Then I'm going to roll which area is going to be suppressed. I rolled a 3. So it's halfway in between here. I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy to be suppressed. He's going to roll 4 dice, needing 6s. No hits, so there's no suppression. If they would have hit me, I would have then put a disrupted marker on that guy, and that would have had to have been removed before he could do anything. All right, assault. Not a terrible card at this point because there's not a lot of counters on the board. But what assault says is infantry on the board are going to suppress. You look at all the assault tracks. I only have 1 assault track with an infantry on it. You're going to total up the number of dice. They get 1 die. They are going to suppress that side of the building, needing a 6. He misses. No suppression happens. Then armor are going to attack buildings. You've got a Panzer III on the red. He's got 2 dice. He needs to roll 4s or higher. I rolled a 4. It drops to a 3. That's not great. This Panzer II has 1 die attacking the purple side and needs 6 or higher. He rolls a 4 and misses. So that card... And now we got 3 Stuka dive bombers, and I'm most likely not going to be able to survive my wiring system to be able to take 4 actions next turn, but we'll see. So I rolled a 9. This gets disrupted. I rolled a 12. Once again, this is going to be removed. Bummer. It's just the way it is. Oh, an 18. Doesn't happen often. But remember I told you I rolled an 18, so the 60-second command post is now disrupted. That means I can't take any 60-second command post actions until I get that cleaned off. That really is bad. But so goes this game. So we survived another round. Let's go ahead and go back to the tactical side. Let's pull all our action markers off. Now we get to decide what we're going to do. We got some movements, so I'm going to go ahead and move a guy there. I don't need these guys on the board. They don't do me any good unless they have a machine gun. I need to get a machine gun, so I can't move them. I could move them, but I'm not going to go ahead and move them. So I'm going to recruit a machine gun with Glashenko. So I'm going to get this light machine gun, which costs 2. So I'll put that in my supply. I'm going to do Pavlov to then go ahead and unexhaust all 3 of these guys, just in preparation for next round to try to kill a tank. And there's nothing else I can do. I could do a... So I'm going to go ahead and bring a suppression token out into purple. Because that's going to start to get hairy if I don't do something. All right, that's my turn. Let's go back to the operational, or strategic, I'm sorry. No, operational. We're going to draw 3 cards. The deck runs out, so we have to get this and mix this in, or reshuffle and then draw 1 more card. And do a little shuffling. Yeah, this game's pretty fun. I think it's pretty simple, but it is a fun game, and there are some meaningful choices about what you do, particularly on this side and when to suppress and what actions to take. So I did draw a Fog of War card. I throw that into the discard. I'm going to go ahead and do a Volga military flotilla to get all 3 of these food tokens over. I should be set on food for a while. I'm going to go ahead... Oh, God, these are tough choices. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one of these disruption markers there. And then I'm going to do a Volga military flotilla to try to get those things across. Those are my 3 actions. And it would have been nice to be able to take all 4, but wasn't meant to be. All right, the next Wehrmacht phase, we draw a rifleman, we roll a 6-sider, rolling a 3. I'm going to go ahead and try to suppress that guy with 2. I need to roll 4 or higher, and I do. He doesn't come on. I rolled a 5 and a 3. Ooh, machine gunners. They're going to come in on the green. So I'm going to use 1 suppression token to try to stave them off. I need to roll 4 or higher. I rolled a 2, so he comes on. Doggone it. And my third and final is an artillery. It only attacks red or purple. It is going to attack red, which is absolutely hilarious. So boom. It takes a hit. Because it's down to 3, everybody in that wall is going to get disrupted. Now, they can't take an action until I take those disruption markers off. So that's going to hurt really bad. But we survived that phase and only had 1 new guy come on. Kept 1 off as well. All right, let's recover our action markers. I'm going to go ahead and recover him. Go ahead and... Oh, I can move. Sorry, I can move my guys. So I'm going to move... Actually going to move him here. Just because I want to take out that scout. So that's free. So I'm going to unexhaust Pavlov. I'm going to actually go ahead and undisrupt both of those guys for 2 actions, and that's my 3 actions. So that's it. Not a great turn, but it is what it is. Let's go back to the operational level. Let's draw our 4 cards. And I'm still not able to do those because man. All right, 62nd Army Group, I'm going to go ahead and undisrupt. Can't have that out there. That's very, very, very bad. I'm going to go ahead and put that signal corps back on. So now if that can survive the entire round, I'm going to be able to do that next time. And I need to go ahead and recruit some guys. So I get 6 points. I'm going to get a new commander. And then I'm just going to get a couple guys to be used as fodder. So there we go. So that's what I did. Now let's go back to the Wehrmacht card phase. We'll draw our... All right, a rifleman. We're going to roll a d6. Rolled a 4. I will try to suppress with just 1. Need to roll a 4 or higher. I miss, so he goes on. Man. We have an attack the building. It's going to attack green, which is at a 6. Roll 3 dice, needing 6 or higher. Misses. That's very fortunate. And we have some machine gunners who are going to come in on 2, which I can't suppress. So we're starting to get a little bit of trouble there. We'll get it cleaned up, hopefully. All right, now, next phase, we're going to have to do a resupply, and that's where I'm going to stop. Actually, I think after I finish this turn, I'm going to stop for this video. So let's go back to the tactical phase. Pick up our action markers. We got some work to do. See, and you just don't have enough actions. We can move. So I'm going to go ahead and move my leader there, move that guy there, and move that guy there. All right. So I really want to take out some of those machine gunners. So green has line of sight to these assault tracks. We'll go ahead and roll 2 dice, needing 4s or higher. As we are attacking those machine gunners, we got them. I'm going to go ahead and remove that machine gunner counter. We have 1 action remaining. What should I do? I think I'm going to attack. I'm going to go ahead and attack with this guy on those machine gunners. So he gets 1 die, needing a 4 or higher. I rolled a 4. So yeah, we just went from trouble to cleaned off that side of the building pretty good. So that's our 3 actions. We did get a second leader out, and that's where we're going to stop for this video. So we are at, what is this, the second resupply phase? Yeah, so we are at the second resupply phase. We've gone through the 1 cards in the Wehrmacht deck and all of the 2 cards in the Wehrmacht deck. We have scored 5 victory points, which is good. And we're not doing too bad. The operational level has some disruptions that I'm worried about. We have 4 disruptions. I need to get those cleaned up. But this time, we're going to get to take 4 actions. That's going to be awesome. That will help us get those cleaned up very, very well. So we'll see how this goes. And that's where I'm going to stop for now. Please check out part 2 of this video playthrough. I hope to shoot it soon and have it up within the next week. You can also check out, we did a video review of this game, Alexander and I, as we played the cooperative mode. I have also written 4 action point posts on the various elements. It was a very fun series to put together. So go ahead and check those out on theplayersaid.com. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid. Really enjoyed going through this playthrough video, and we'll try to finish it up next time. So thank you for watching.